We asked New Yorkers this month about healthcare reform, how they feel about it, whether they think that reform is going to work. And first of all, New Yorkers told us, 74% of New Yorkers told us, absolutely, we need healthcare reform, the system is broken. Unfortunately, that's where agreement breaks down. When we start to get into some of the specifics of the various proposals, whether healthcare reform is going to lead to increased efficiency, whether they trust government more than private business to run a healthcare plan, whether a healthcare reform is going to negatively affect private business, can we afford healthcare reform? How about the quality? And of course, the large issue on whether or not healthcare reform is going to positively or negatively affect our seniors. That's where New Yorkers disagree again and again and again. Overall, what we found by statistically comparing New Yorkers' answers to all those questions at once, we found that about 35% of New Yorkers support healthcare reform and do trust the government system. A little bit more than a quarter of New Yorkers, 26%, say, hey, wait a second. I don't think so. I don't think that I want to change my current healthcare plan. I don't think I want a government plan. But the largest single group, 39%, nearly 4 out of every 10 New Yorkers say, I think the healthcare system needs to be fixed. I just don't know how, and right now I need more information. And I think New Yorkers are very much like Americans in general. Although there's a heated debate, they want more clear, concise information. New Yorkers are concerned not only about healthcare, but they're concerned about the economy and how they and their family are doing within this economy. The good news, first off, is that compared to this time last year, more New Yorkers believe the economy is going to improve over the next 12 months. 57% of New Yorkers now, as compared to only 36% a year ago, believe that over the next year we're going to see an improvement in the economy. That's a little bit of where the good news ends. We found that right now only 46% of New Yorkers have a family budget. That's only up 3 points from last year, even in the face of these difficult economic times. Perhaps more sobering for New Yorkers, what we found is that nearly 1 in 7, 15% of New York households indicated that over the last 6 months, one family member has been laid off. And 25%, that's 1 in 4 households report that somebody in their household has had their hours cut back at work. Certainly, jobs, jobs, jobs are pinching New Yorkers. We continue at Siena to ask New Yorkers exactly how they are dealing with the economic crisis, how they and their family are trying to adjust. We found several things. New Yorkers say that they are planning their expenses and eliminating impulse buying at the rate of 77%. Nearly 8 in 10 New Yorkers say that that's what they're doing. Similarly, nearly 3/4 of New Yorkers say, you know what, I've cut back on how much I spend on entertainment. And 73% of New Yorkers say, I'm checking that thermostat at night. I'm monitoring and I'm really watching carefully my energy consumption. So those are 3 major behavioral changes that New Yorkers say that they are engaging in order to deal with this economic problem. Also, more than half of New Yorkers, 55%, told us that over the last year they have delayed making major purchases, a home, a car, a home improvement, and 51% of New Yorkers, just more than half, say that they're substituting goods and services of lesser cost, whether it be food, clothing, or hygiene. Also, 63% of New Yorkers, nearly 2/3, say that over the last year they've started to use coupons or look for special offers for those everyday items. Some of the questions that we asked in this month's survey about healthcare and personal finances were the same questions that we had asked a year ago. What we found is that when we asked New Yorkers, are you more in debt or less in debt than you were a year ago, we found that at about a break even. 39% of New Yorkers say I'm less in debt today than I was a year ago. 40% say, wait a second, that's not true. I'm actually more in debt today than I was a year ago. Slightly more than 60% of New Yorkers, a number very similar to last year, said, I'm very much concerned as to whether or not I can continue to live at my current standard of living. And 66% of New Yorkers, 2/3, again a number very similar to last year's number, say, you know what, I spend more time today worrying about money than I ever have before.